Hello, boys and girls, and welcome back to another episode of Who's at the Door. Are you excited for today? Today, you have me, Tahila, and I'm about to tell you a very exciting story that teaches you to trust God and all things will work out for good if you obey God. I hope you're listening. This story starts with people called the Philistines. The Philistines gathered their armies together for war against the Israelites. King Saul and the Israelites were all gathered together. The Philistines had a champion fighter called Goliath. He was over 9 feet tall. Can you imagine that? Being all that tall. Wonderful. He had a bronze helmet on his head. He wore a coat of armor. He wore bronze protectors on his legs, and he had a bronze javelin on his back. All these things were very heavy, but because he was so tall and so big and strong, he was able to carry them. Though he was so big and strong, he did not have God on his side, which was eventually his downfall. Each day, Goliath would come out and challenge the Israelite soldiers. He would say, "Why are all your soldiers lined up for battle? Choose one man and send him to fight me. If that man wins, we Philistines will serve you. But if I win, you, the Israelites, would serve us." If the Israelites lost, which they already assumed they would have to serve the Philistines, and they would be very evil people to them. The Israelites were very afraid of Goliath. Now, there was a boy named David. He was just a young boy, and he was the son of Jesse. Jesse had other sons, as David was his youngest son. Jesse's 3 older sons were in Saul's army. One day, Jesse sent David to give his brothers food in the camp. He also gave him food for the army's commanders, asking David to bring back something to show him that his brothers were okay. So David went immediately and left the food with the man who kept supplies. While David was talking to his brothers, Goliath came out and began shouting things to the Israelites as usual. One of the Israelite men said, "Whoever wins against him will be rich and marry the king's daughter. He will also make the man's family tax-free." Imagine that, winning a battle and having all these things added on to you. But this wouldn't be an easy battle, because if one man were to fight Goliath, Goliath would win in the power of human strength. David was annoyed and angry at the things Goliath had said, as he knew the Israelites were God's people, and God should never ever be mocked. One of David's brothers got mad at him for talking with the other soldiers. David went up to the king and said he was going to fight Goliath. Though the king was against David fighting because he was only a young boy, David told him about how God had delivered a lion and a bear into his hands, 2 strong, vicious animals that God had helped David kill. Imagine that. Imagine God helping you to be so strong that even these wild animals could not defeat him. So, Saul gave David his armor, but David was not used to all this heavy armor. So, David took 5 smooth stones and a sling. When Goliath saw David, he mocked him for being young and small. But David said, "You come to me with a sword, a spear, and a javelin, but I come before you in the name of the Lord, which is the highest name in this world. David and Goliath ran towards each other, preparing for a fierce battle. David took one stone, swung it, and it landed in the middle of Goliath's head, and it sunk deep into it. Goliath fell, and David defeated Goliath. David was celebrated among the people because he was so courageous, and he did this and helped God's people. One of the morals of the story is, without God, we humans have no strength. Though Goliath was so tall and so mighty in his own strength, because God was mightier, he defeated Goliath, David being only so small. Having courage and trusting the Lord is a wonderful thing. You can do this knowing God is always faithful to you. There is a verse in the Bible, 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12, and it says, "Let no one despise your youth, but be an example to the believers in word, in conduct, in love, in spirit, in faith, in purity." Just because you are young does not mean you cannot do wonders through God. Thank you for listening to this story. And who do you think will be at the door next week? Keep your guesses coming, and thank you for listening. God bless you.